Hi, everybody. This is the Disruptor here with another episode of Weekly Candles. What I've done here this week is try putting it in the Substack first. I think that'll make it a little easier for us to go through. If you're not familiar, Capital Navigator is my quant model that I use in order to find these sort of plays. Let's dive into them. So first, we're going to look at the Cappy leaders. These are the ones with the biggest scores on Cappy that are grabbing my interest a lot. We look at gold bears. Now this is GDXD. A lot of things I like are leveraged ETFs, which aren't really everyone's cup of tea, but they definitely get the biggest scores in my system. Great moves. What I like here is on GDXD. We've got this golden cross here, where the 50-day moving average, and these are daily, just because it's not a very long candle. So even though it's called weekly candles, this one's daily. The 50 is crossing above the 200. But look at this hammer; it's just great. I'm thinking that gold bears really pull it out and just keep on trucking. There's been a lot of consolidation here. Really been wondering what's been going on, and some have lost hope. But when you scroll down here to silver bears, things look a bit more on a clear uptrend. Bounce, found support. Now this isn't a weekly, so this is still a 50-week. So that's pretty much equivalent to like a 250-day moving average. Found support, moved up. These are fib lines here that I've drawn in. That target right there, I think that target is around 47.50. So this is a ZSL, I believe. Next, we've got shorting Brazil. This one just doesn't really look like it knows what it wants to do yet. I'm a big RSI range guy. You see down here that RSI is really hitting that 60 level and finding resistance. I'm not sure what Brazil does. We've got a lot of these times where it just kind of comes up above the moving average and then falls back down. This happens over and over. Meanwhile, the trend just keeps moving lower. Now here you've got a low and then a higher low. That's the reason why this is maybe making an appearance on Cappy. Natty Gas, man, this has been the star of 2022. Definitely been the play that I have been rocking. I love this RSI. You break out, find resistance at the 60, come down, but then move higher and find a higher low on RSI. I think RSI is just such a great indicator. Here I've marked in some clear levels of resistance and support that we could find, but we're finding support here on that 50-week, and I just think Natty Gas can go really far because you've got all of those geopolitical things that are happening now. Sogu, or this is a short SPAC ETF. This has been by far the second greatest play in 2022. It's just done fantastic. I mean, look at this run down here from, what is that, around 25 up to close, what is that, 75 or 80. Nice hammer there. It's in the lower price channel, but it is still moving upward. There's a lot to be watching here. Let's look at some basic materials. I really want to see it retest. We've broken above this resistance, and we really want to see it find support on it. If we could get a sense of polarity there, that'd be great. Another thing I really like about this, see where the RSI comes up out of below 40 and then find support on 40. That's a great strategy if you really are looking for things that are in a position where they might be reversing a trend. And sure enough, it did break above that resistance after it did that. Very attractive. Really want to see SMN find support there. You can go to emerging markets. You've got an ascending triangle here. If emerging markets is something that you want to be bearish on, this level is just consistently kind of worked as resistance. I'd love to see it break through it, but I'm loving these higher lows. It really makes me feel like something could happen there. If you've been wanting to short real estate, I'd say that either you've got a great retest opportunity or things are really falling apart, and just the RSI doesn't look good. This doesn't look like the retest I wanted to look at. And what's interesting is we're going to look at home construction later. Home construction looks very bullish right now. I'm kind of thinking maybe the short on real estate just might not continue. We'll have to go and see, of course. If you've been with us on the shorting the euro position, then this gap up, obviously this giant gap right there. Everyone's been curious to see if it's going to fill the gap and then move higher, but instead it's kind of held there. We've got a hammer. We'll be very curious to see if that continues, to show good gains in the coming sessions, possibly week. Now, shorting yen looks like it might be tiring out a bit, and the reason why I say that is because we're seeing some of these Japanese funds that are more bullish on Japan and the yen, kind of finding something that looks like strength. This might be a time to take some profits on yen, maybe see where it goes from here. I know I'm holding a short yen, the one that's actually here, and I'll be curious to see what happens from here. We've got this joke that we've been making about Scott Pilgrim shorting the world, and one way that we're looking at this is EAFE. This means Asia, I'm sorry, Europe, Asia, and the Far East. It's just great, just beautiful higher lows there. This level right here is key, and it's acting as resistance. We'll be very curious to see if it falls down lower or if it continues higher. So if you're with Scott Pilgrim on shorting the world, this might be a play to be watching. Are we long energy again? Because this has been a big topic. Oil and energy. Everyone knows that we've short supply. Saudi Arabia has basically come out and said we can't boost any more oil production. There's just a whole lot of reasons to wonder why oil is making such a big pullback. Now this is Rogers Energy ETF. And what I like is, it's just kind of finding its support here on this level, but we'd really like to get above this so that we know that we're just not in some weird consolidation phase. RSI looks fine. It looks like it might be curling back up, and if so, then that would be very bullish. This one's one that I'm really going to be watching. Rogers ETF. That's what is that? That's RJN is the ticker. And lots of people are talking about healthcare. Healthcare services one. For me, I'm seeing healthcare services continue to be in the same trend until it proves otherwise. And I just, I don't like weekly RSI to have gotten down below 40. Look at that. Came up to near 60, found resistance, went back below 40. It's got to do something different here for me to feel like healthcare services is going to be moving anywhere different. Now, if you want to talk about something that is moving differently, you got to talk about home construction. And this is ITB. We haven't seen a V bottom in anywhere. It looks just like this one, except here in home construction. And so whether you're XHB or ITB, we're leaning more towards ITB. We see more strength here. If it continues higher, this could be a great little run. And so we're looking here. This is the new play of the week, I'd have to say. This ITB. So we're watching it. Obviously, you've got a clear line of resistance here. We're not above it. We pushed above it and got pushed back down. A lot could happen here. But man, I'm really excited here. Now, if you were writing webs, you know how fierce this thing was. I mean, it just did such a phenomenal job, and really just kind of seemed like it was going to fall down. But look at that hammer right there. I'm really wondering what does it do here? Does it rise up beyond this? Is Webs going to continue further? This is one that just has done so well. It's hard to not just want more from it. And look at that, a 12% session on Friday. And just Now, okay, so not many people are thinking India is going to be a big runner. It had a red day on Friday, but you just gotta love. Sorry, let's get rid of that. You just gotta love this polarity here. Found resistance, broke through, found support, fell through. Do we find resistance again, or do we push through? This is one that I'll be watching just because I love the technical aspect of it, and it was doing quite well on Cappy. All right, so we got to talk about the elephant in the room, and that's Biotech, because Biotech has just been killing it. Look at this. I mean, finding a bottom there and then moving up. Now, I say bottom, maybe I shouldn't, because what I'm seeing here is a similar line of resistance. You'd have to break through that for me really to think otherwise. And look here, RSI went up to a little bit below 60, found resistance, came down. Now, if it bottomed here above 40 and moved up, I would feel like being bullish Biotech might be something worth looking at. But at the moment, it's just something that I really am wondering about. Solar is another one. Solar is something that I want to see work, but maybe that's my own bias, and I'm just seeing it again, not really do too much, even though it is doing better than large pockets, if I speak, large pockets of the market. So if you've been in TAN or Rays, this might be one that you might be watching. I'm not even seeing really higher lows here. It's just kind of moved up here and kind of doing this consolidation. I like to see what's going on now. All right, so China, right? There's been a lot of talk about China. China did great. We can see this move here that it did. But same thing as what we see in Biotech, what we see in solar. It didn't get up to 60, found resistance, came down. And again, we're seeing it here on this 50-week moving average or 250-day moving average. That's just not what I want to see. I want to see this above this, and I want to see it find support. So at this moment, my thoughts on China is just kind of not yet. I'm just not really seeing this. Now, this is China consumer discretionaries. I pulled this one out. It was one of the stronger ones in Cappy, and I felt like it was a good way to look at it. But there are obviously other ways that we could look at that. Now, this chart for Brent oil looks a little bit different than probably the kind of charts that you're used to looking at. I love Andrew's pitchforks, which is what this is. It basically breaks it up into price channels, an upper price channel, a lower price channel, and then I tend to drop in these dashed lines here as kind of levels that I tend to see support or resistance in, and they work surprisingly well. I really like these, and I just want to see Brent do something. Again, it goes back to that oil, the RJN, the Rogers Energy. It looks stronger than this chart. I'd be curious to see if Brent pulls something out. Now, when you talk about energy, it's hard not to want to talk about the Middle East. And Kuwait was one of these charts that I just loved. I love it when it fell down here and just shot all the way up. What a great run that was. But you notice it just fell through and fell through. And now it looks like it either wants to re-enter or it's going to find a new channel maybe below this one. But look at the RSI. Just like I talked about, finding support on the 40, finding support on the 40. By the way, my RSI levels are not 70 and 30. They're 40 and 60. And this is in line with Andrew Cardwell's work on RSI ranges. So I think there's a lot to like here about Kuwait. I'm very curious to see what kind of happens, where we go from here. Now, let's change this, okay? And let's say instead about the leaders on Cappy, let's look at the biggest changes. So these are the ones that, when I look at Friday's session, I'm looking at the biggest point change, right? And so these are not going to be things that are going to be easy to measure. Maybe they're not the leaders, but they are things that are really moving. And Biotech bears, this is LABD, a 3x Biotech bear. Obviously had a rough go with Biotech running so strongly, but what I like about it is, we were in a bullish range. RSI came down, touched 40, maybe finding support. If Biotech continues to fall apart, that's really, really interesting. And look at the run on Friday, 12%. I mean, that's just really, really, really exciting. Palladium, you've heard me talk about Palladium if you've been following me at all, because Palladium did this thing on the daily RSI where it jumped up to in above 60 and then came down. And when it came down, I thought, great, this is going to be the retest that we need. And so sure enough, it came in, retested on the trend line, offered a lot of opportunities to take a position. And whatever you're looking at these moving averages, if you even want to look at them, RSI, I love this, finds support at 40, goes up, finds a higher support. That to me seems to suggest that Palladium could be the long metal run here. And up 8% on Friday. So let's say China falls apart, right? Let's say China falls apart. Let's say these bullish runs on China don't really do anything of any significance. Yang, a China bear, might be the play. And so again, we see similar things where we're finding support at the 40. We'd like to find more support. This is not a pretty trend here by any means, but it is something that that could be a really nice run if it could get up and going. Now, look, I talk a lot about these, Palladium's not one, but a lot about leveraged ETFs just because I find them fun to play, and also I'm a degenerate, so there you go. But the thing is that this is not me saying run out and go and buy these or trade these. Instead, it's kind of an interesting topic when you think about what sectors are working and which sectors aren't, and where they are, and maybe you like the perspective I'm adding, maybe not, but perhaps that adds to the things that you're looking at over the week, the dialogues you're having with friends on FinTwit. Regardless, I hope this was a good time. Cheers, y'all.